I think my marriage is over. Hey everyone. First time poster here. A friend recommended this subreddit when I explained my situation. I'm not sure if this even qualifies as infidelity. My friend said she thought so. Here I am. I'm not really sure what I'm hoping to get from this post. Maybe moral support, suggestions on how to navigate the path ahead of me. How to move on. Anyway, let me dive into it. Be warned, it's a long post. For context, I'm 33M, my wife is 27F. We've been together for 7 years, married for 2. Basically all of my wife's 20s have been with me. We have no children. We've never had any major fights or arguments. I always made it a point to fix any issues as they arose. One thing my parents taught me is never go to bed mad. And it's something I honestly have always tried to live by. The only major issue has been my low testosterone and erectile dysfunction. Her libido absolutely dwarfs mine. I tried to explain it to her. I want to have sex, but sometimes it'd be like if someone asked me if I wanted to go watch golf. Zero interest. It's something I didn't work as hard as I could to correct. My doctor prescribed testosterone injections, but I'm deathly afraid of needles and didn't inject myself. My wife is the same way and didn't inject me. So I relied on the little blue pill to perform. And she didn't want to know when I took it so that it could feel spontaneous. This put a huge strain on our romantic life. Beyond that, we've always been happy. In early August I got COVID and quarantined for 7 weeks, long story by myself. She went to stay with family. This was a very long, almost 2 months for me. I never left the house except to get tested again, and when it was positive, I went straight back home. The cabin fever was real. My wife came over every day after work. She'd leave groceries on the porch, then she sat in her car in the driveway, I stood 8 feet away and we just talked for a while. I looked forward to those 30 minutes more than anything. It was the only face-to-face human interaction I got. One day we had a fight about the electric bill. She told me I was using too much and needed to be careful, since I was out of work and not getting paid. Money was right. This made me irrationally angry. I knew what she was spending money on. Clothes, going shopping, out to eat with friends and family. None of this bothered me. I knew she needed to things while she was away from home and we had more than enough money or afford the occasional dining out trip. I had never mentioned any of this spending to her, so for her to pick at the electric bill really irritated me. I was there 24/7 for a month, of course the bill would be higher. So I made the smart-ass remark, I guess I'll just turn everything off then. Childish, I know. I regretted saying it as soon as said it. I knew she was only worried about the bills. I apologized for handling it poorly, told her I was frustrated at being cooped up. She didn't talk to me for 3 weeks. Didn't bring food, didn't text to ask how I was feeling, didn't answer my texts. Nothing. When I finally tested negative, I texted her and told her we needed to talk, that I was negative and she could come home. She told me she was visiting a female friend out of state, and we'd talk when she got back. We talked a week later. She told me she wasn't coming home. She said she doesn't love me anymore, and it was over. Boom. Just like that, out of the blue. She said I didn't speak her love language, that she needed physical touch and she just fell out of love with me. I had no idea what love languages were and I assumed her need for physical touch was referring to my erectile dysfunction. I had never heard of the book about love languages, so I googled it, found it on Audible and listened to it at work. Twice. As an aside, I cannot recommend this book enough. If you are in a relationship, thinking about starting a relationship, or even if you're single. This helped me understand what my wife needed to feel loved. I love you isn't always enough. If I get nothing else out of this marriage, this knowledge alone will help me in my next relationship. Armed with this new knowledge, including that I even had a love language and she hadn't been speaking it either, I asked her to have lunch so we could talk. I told her I read the book and I understood her now, and that we can totally fix this if we want to. I asked her if she knew my love language, and she was a deer in the headlights. She honestly hadn't expected me to ask that question. I drove home my point that neither of us has been taking care of each other's needs, and if we both truly wanted to start doing that, Our marriage could be saved. Nope. She said she felt no romantic feelings for me anymore. We'd make great friends, but it is over. I was crushed. During my quarantine, my wife mentioned to me how she and a male mutual friend, someone I've worked with and known for 12 years, had started walking together to lose weight. I honestly thought absolutely nothing of it. He's married with kids. My wife and him went through training at work together years ago and bonded. They've been friends for several years. Now I know all of you know where this is going. At the time I had no concerns at all. But in hindsight the red flags should have been smacking me upside the head. A week or so after our last talk, my wife came to the house to get a few things and asked if we could go for a drive. She was feeling down and wanted to talk, so I of course agreed. Then she told me she was hurt because her friend's wife wouldn't let him hang out with her anymore. Alarm bells started ringing. I asked her why she wouldn't let them see each other and she said because she thought they were having an affair. I asked her if they were and she said no, they've never done anything. I asked her why the wife would think they were having an affair and she said it was because they spent 5 or 6 days a week together since the start of my quarantine. My wife even bought their kids presents when she was out of state visiting her friend. The other woman promptly threw them away. Then she told me, to my face, he just makes my life so full. It was a total gut punch. My wife telling me, without shame or hesitation, that another man makes her life full. I told her she needed to level with me and tell me whether or not she saw him as more than a friend, and she said that doesn't matter. That should have been the end of it for me, but this woman is my wife and I felt that I had to try and save our marriage all the way up until it's officially over. We didn't talk much about our relationship for a while, though we did hang out more frequently. In the back of my mind I knew the only reason she was spending more time with me was because the other man's wife wouldn't let them see each other anymore. The other wife found me on Facebook and called me, told me what she knew and asked if I knew anything. She told me she left a recorder in his truck and had a recording of them at least making out, maybe more. But she could hear movement and they weren't talking. That hurt. She also said her and her husband are going to marriage counseling and they're trying to fix it. It was a good talk. Both of us were hurting. There was no anger or malice toward each other. One night a few weeks ago my wife was at my house so we could catch up on a show we'd been neglecting. As she was leaving, she said I love you, like she always does, and I gave my usual I love you more response. It's something we've always done, ever since the first time we told each other we loved each other. This time felt different, because we both knew the I love you more was true. We made eye contact and my wife immediately started ugly crying. Full on hysterical sobs. She walked up to me and hugged me tighter than she had in months and just cried. I held her until she calmed down a bit and then we went for a drive, because that's the best way for her to calm down. We had a long talk. It was the closest we had come yet to actually trying to fix it. She said she had thought leaving me was the right choice for her, but now she had no idea. She didn't know what she wanted or what she was doing, and she just needed time to figure things out. She mentioned marriage counseling, and I told her that marriage counseling is a must before she moved back in with me. I told her I'd do whatever it took to try and fix it. As long as we actually tried. I left that night feeling really optimistic that there was still hope. And then, just a week later, she was back to it is over for sure mentality. So now we're in this weird waiting game. I'm still stupidly waiting for her to come home. She is waiting on her boyfriend to leave his wife. And in the meantime her and I are still hanging out. She calls me asking if we can go do something because she's lonely, and I stupidly agree. I told her this should probably stop because while we're together, she is just hanging out with a friend. I am hanging out with my wife. Since she left, I did go to my doctor and get on antidepressants and testosterone. I asked my doctor if she could inject the drug for me and she is, every week. I do feel a lot better. Either because of the happy pills or the testosterone, As for my marriage, I'm still clinging to something that is probably gone. All of my plans for the future involve this woman. I couldn't wait to meet our kids. I couldn't wait to meet the woman she would be as a mother. I couldn't wait to experience the rest of my life with her. Travel, grow old, have grandkids. All of it. And now I'm alone in the house we bought, and I have no idea what my future looks like now. I'm lost. That's pretty much where I am now. Like I said, I don't know if this counts as infidelity, because she did leave me. Though I am sure she had an emotional relationship with this man while I was quarantined. Possibly before. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for reading. I know it was a long winding tale. But it helped a bit to get it all out. If you have any suggestions, advice, words of encouragement, anything, I could really use it right about now. Thanks. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, a man or woman never throws away their only pair of shoes. You're her plan B and you know it. Stop being her plan B. Imagine what would have happened if that friend's wife didn't want to work things out with him. Your wife would have left you in a heartbeat. Did she ever come clean about not only emotionally, but also physically cheating? As for taking people back who left you, you've made it way too easy for her. She needs to work for it. This way, making it so easy for her, you're giving off the wrong signal. Hell, take me back anytime. It's like you're rewarding her for cheating on leaving you. It'll be easy for her to do it again when that friend is available to her again. It's up to you how to live your life. These are only my 2 cents. Just know your worth and that you deserve more than this. Redditor 2, at Mojo. My reply is going to sound harsh, mean, Machiavellian. Apologies in advance. 1. Your marriage, as you knew it, is over. 1a. Do not do the pick-me dance. Your wife has already made her choice. 2. Lawyer up today. 3. Get tested for STDs today. 4. Scour the home computer for apps or SM deleted folders. Recycle, restore as much as possible. Bin for any old deleted messages. Do the same if she has her own personal computer. There is SW you can buy to recover old messages, etc. 4a. Call your ISP and cell phone provider see if they can give you text logs from her phone. 5b. Forewarned, you may find things you wish you hadn't. 6. Write down, from your memory, all conversations you have had in the past with your wife regarding her cheating. Because she has too, will want this. 7. Document every conversation going forward. 7a. She will be in damage control mode. 7b. You're trying to protect yourself, emotionally, financially and legally. 8. Do not confront. Not today, not tomorrow. 2. Will tell you when to pull the trigger. 9. Begin individual counseling. This is for your mental health and well-being. 10. You are a lifeboat in a storm. Be very careful who you talk to about the situation. Your wife is manipulating you, and she may have laid groundwork with her friends, your social circle. 9a. This includes the BS of your wife's AP. 11. Do not leave your house to clear your head. Work, daily activities, are fine. Ensure you sleep there every night. The above is off the top of my head to protect you today, and going forward. Now let's focus on you. 12. Eat better, drink H2O, work out. 13. Continue with your treatments. 14. You did nothing wrong. 15. Reread 14. 16. Once your wife realizes she will confront you, you have met with an attorney, her attitude may very well change. To this date she has already. 16a. Gaslight you. 16b. Lied to you. 16c. Trickle truthed you. 16d. Made the choice to cheat. 17. This is going to be very hard for you because you are the AP. Your strategy is known as Grey Rock. Google it. 17a. Once she realizes her provider is not going to be there, has retained counsel, her attitude will change. Possibly drastically, ranging from attempting intimacy to yelling hurtful things. Also possibly in the same conversation. Remember up. You deserve to be somebody's first and only choice. I wish you well going forward.